In today's Leeds news, DCL claims Leeds are changing the narrative. This weekend's loan watch, Leeds move for Como playmaker, tactical flexibility praise for Farke, and rumour mill stories on Roony Bardghji. Hey folks, welcome to the Leeds View, Monday the 8th of December with your Leeds United news. Things starting to heat up a little bit in the transfer market, or as we get ready to open up the January transfer market. There's a couple of very key stories today, one from a very credible source as well. Also, just a reminder, tonight over on bigup.com we will have a live watch along for the FA Cup draw starting at 6:30. Myself and Andrew Stats-Dalton will be looking at that and having a bit of a chat about who Leeds get in that round, as well as the podcast going out on YouTube and on all the audio platforms today at 7:30. You can keep an eye out for that as we look back at the game at the weekend. But there's a bit of stuff to get stuck into today. There's some fallout from the weekend, as well as some positive stuff on this weekend's loan watch. And we'll start off with Dominic Calvert-Lewin's comments about Leeds changing a narrative. This from a piece this morning by Leon Woodshall in the Yorkshire Post. And in this piece, Dominic Calvert-Lewin believes that Leeds United have changed the narrative so far around their Premier League season after picking up 4 points against Chelsea and Liverpool. Leeds have now scored 8 goals in the 3 matches against Manchester City, Chelsea and Liverpool, and it gives this side hope that they can go away now and pick up some points at Brentford on the road, Palace at home and Sunderland in the next 3 games. Leeds' revival over the last 3 games shows that this side can compete at Premier League level when they play a certain style of football, but the next 3 games will show if Leeds have really turned their corner this season. Speaking after the weekend's result, Dominic Calvert-Lewin had the following to say on the shift at the club. Momentum is massive. This is the epitome of football. 7 days ago, heads were rolling. Look at the conversations we're having now. I said to the boys before the week, we can change the narrative. We've got a win and now a good point. It's not about getting carried away, but about using these results and performances to build on. I don't think anybody should get carried away with these. The Premier League has an awful habit of humbling people when they get a little bit too confident, and no one is talking about Europe. No one is talking about 9th place. Everyone is still talking about the exact same thing: simply survive in the Premier League. Calvert-Lewin now has 4 goals this season for Leeds, level with Lucas Mecha on 4, but Leeds are also adding more goals around the park: 2 from Okafor, 2 from Stack, 2 from Rodon and 2 from Ao Tanaka as well. So that aggressive approach that they showed in the second half, they showed against Chelsea and they showed in the second half against Man City, needs to be what Leeds do and how they approach games in order to dictate the tone of these matches. But it was an important result at the weekend and shows that this side can dig out results when they absolutely need to, and hopefully they can take that on the road now to Brentford and London. Won't be straightforward or easy either, and try and get a positive result down there. Let's get into this weekend's loan watch. Start off Mateo Joseph, and he started for Mallorca in their 0-0 draw with Real Oviedo. He played 90 minutes out on the right wing before being subbed off in injury time. Isaac Schmidt was an unused sub again for Werder Bremen in their 3-2 away defeat to HSV. Schmidt did have a bit of a knock coming into the game. That's part of the reason. Max Verber still out injured. No sign of a return to him anytime soon. Joe Gelhardt, another goal for Joffy, his 10th of the season from the penalty spot this time, and holds 4-1 home loss to Middlesbrough. Charlie Crew got a sub appearance for Doncaster off the bench in the 46th minute in their 2-1 away FA Cup win at Chesterfield. Largi Ramazani is back finally involved with Valencia. Came off the bench in the 68th minute, and SofaScore gave him their man of the match award in Valencia's 1-1 home draw to Seville. Valencia is starting to move up the table now. Rory Mahadi started and played 90 minutes in Scunthorpe's 3-1 home win against Tamworth. Good game as well by Rory, and he's also extended his loan at Scunthorpe for a further month. So some good showings there for the Leeds loanies. Great to see Largi Ramazani back on the park and playing well. Keep an eye on him over the next few weeks. It'll be an important one, maybe even a recall at Leeds. You just don't know what's going to happen with that situation. If Leeds don't get some of the targets they have in January, they might have to look at recalling Largi for that right hand side. But we can get into a move that Leeds have apparently made, and this comes from a very reliable source. The big transfer rumour coming out of Italy this weekend has come from Fabrizio Romano, and he's linked Leeds with a move for a Serie A playmaker. According to Romano, he says that Leeds United have approached Como for playmaker Martin Baturina. Baturina is a 22-year-old attacking midfielder, and he has played 7 times so far this season, managing 1 goal in the process, but hasn't started that many games for Como just yet. Romano claims that Leeds approached Como over a deal that's rumoured to be in and around £21 million. However, Como have rejected that move and have no plan to sell the former Dynamo Zagreb player who only joined them in the summer. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Romano had the following to say. Baturina is a player Como still want to focus on. They're not thinking about a January exit. I'll tell you the behind the scenes story. In the last few days, Leeds United have been in touch. The teams have started to move and Leeds have proposed opening talks with Como and the player's agent about a possible transfer, even a permanent one. Leeds would have practically repaid Baturina to Como, and the response, as I understand it, from both Como and the player was no thank you. Baturina wants to stay at Como and he believes in the Como project and they are said to be happy with him. Romano says that the door is now firmly closed on a move for Leeds United for Baturina, but it does start to show from a relatively reliable source that Leeds United have started to make moves in the transfer market and at least starting to work through potential targets and their shortlist. Daniel Farke did say last week that Leeds United's desire to bring in what they missed out on in the summer is still there. And that is also a right winger who has a left foot and can cut inside. And that does bring us on to our Rumour story at the end of today's video. But it's an interesting one. Romano is a very reliable source when it comes to Italian transfers. Interesting to see what Leeds will do now, but it appears that Leeds are now starting to move for attacking midfielders as well as wingers in the January transfer window, but we'll see how they get on with that. Let's move on. Let's talk about praise from Daniel Farke and tactical flexibility at the weekend. Daniel Farke has praised the Leeds United players for their fight back against Liverpool on a night that he branded a magical one at Elland Road. But Farke also deserves praise for showing tactical flexibility, which the Leeds fans, myself included, have been screaming out for all season. Leeds started with their 3-5-2 formation, but they lacked the intensity in that first half that was there against Chelsea and in the second half against Manchester City before they then switched off for 4 minutes at the beginning of the second half and went 2-0 down. But Farke made significant changes that changed the game for Leeds. He first moved back to last season's 4-2-3-1 that gave Leeds a chance to get back in the match before then switching again to a 3-4-3 to push for the equaliser, with the attacking changes being very important in changing the tempo of the game that helped Leeds United get the result. Speaking after the game, Daniel Farke said this on the tactical shifts. We're happy, of course, all the credit goes to the boys. We got so much praise for our different formation, but at 2-0 down, we wanted to change the challenge for Liverpool. We wanted more mobile wingers, sometimes wide, sometimes in the pocket, and to press in a different way. The lads executed it brilliantly. Assist for Willie, assist for Brendan, out with the equaliser after I was a bit furious with him for opening our block. Sebastian Bornau, we wanted to create a bit of chaos, playing him as a right back without the ball and as a striker with the ball. We needed to change something. It caught Liverpool a bit by surprise, and we were able to create a few more set pieces and could use one to equalise. After this exhausting week, we changed our base formation and it worked. Amazing. Daniel Farke did say last week that the base formation wasn't the issue and didn't need changing, but he has changed it and he has shown that flexibility, and that's all Leeds fans have been looking for this season: flexibility and unpredictability from Daniel Farke's approach, and we got that this week. But this needs to be carried forward into games where Leeds will hopefully be in a position to pick up more points, and that press that he talked about wasn't visible in the first half, but after the change in the second half became far more obvious watching the match, and that is something that's been really important to how Leeds have gotten these results in the last few weeks, winning the ball high up the park. And if you go back to the data set put out by Opta, that exact approach has given Leeds the most amount of success this season. They've won the sides that have won the most amount of balls back in the opposition half, and that needs to be how they approach games and not sit in the first half like they did against Liverpool. So yeah, interesting couple of weeks ahead for Leeds United. We'll get into the rumour mill and our final story of today. According to reports in Spain, Leeds are interested and have approached Barcelona for Swedish winger Roony Bardghji. Bardghji has been described as an inverted right winger who likes to come in onto his left foot, and that is exactly what Leeds United were looking for in the summer. Harry Wilson being one of those, but not they being another one. According to reports, Leeds have approached Barcelona for a potential loan for the 20-year-old, with Barcelona said to be open to a loan exit. The Swedish winger joined Barcelona from Copenhagen in the summer and has impressed at a very young age for Copenhagen, but this season he's been limited to minutes in La Liga. He's only started 3 games for Barcelona and made 5 appearances off the bench, but he has got a goal and an assist in La Liga, and he's played twice in the Champions League, also getting an assist. The reason for his limited game time is said to be that he's the backup for Lamine Yamal, and that's not a bad situation, to be fair. You're playing behind one of the best players in the world football at the moment, and definitely one of the best young players in world football at this moment in time. But reports in Spain say that Barcelona will allow a loan exit in January, and Leeds United are named as one of the sides pursuing a potential signing of the winger. As I say, he will be exactly what Leeds are looking for. He does have experience in the Champions League. He has played with Copenhagen quite a lot at a very young age. Might be not getting a huge amount of game time at Barcelona, but still a huge amount of experience playing at a club like that with the players that Barcelona have, and still 8 appearances in total this season in La Liga, as well as 2 in the Champions League, isn't bad for a 20-year-old at this point in his career. He also is a Swedish international. He knows Gabby Gudmundsson quite well and was praised very highly by Alexander Isak recently, and he says that he could be a star player for Sweden into the future. So that's one to keep an eye on over the next couple of weeks if Leeds can manage to try and get that one done. The loan market seems to be the obvious one that Leeds will go down. The PSR situation still in and around the place. They might be able to bring in one permanent signing and maybe look at a couple of loans. But they've got 3 loan spaces in their squad, and they can use that effectively, hopefully, in January to try and add to this squad and give us a great chance of staying in the Premier League, because the sides around them will definitely strengthen. West Ham are rumoured to be ready to spend big in January to get out of the issues that they're in right now. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. We'll let you know again later on over on bigup.com tonight at 6:30 for the FA Cup draw, and then we'll have the podcast out tonight on audio platforms as well as YouTube at about 7:30 tonight. Outside of that, have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. See you later. Bye.